So I just thought I'd say some good things did happen this year, although I have to say not many good things happened this year. Not nearly as many as I wanted to happen, but what can you do? But and just to be warned, we've recorded this about a month in advance of when you're going to see it, so things may have changed. But Milei apparently is going to scrap Argentina's version of the BBC, which is great.
I'm skeptical about Milei.
I know everyone is, but I'm skeptical too. But the thing is, the way I'm looking at it is just like, you know what? It's the best we got. Like, it's literally the best we got.
Best we've got is an open borders.
Yep. Unironically, so the way I'm looking at this is essentially there's a sort of global reaction to the globalist order, and each country produces a kind of champion that represents their national character.
Yes.
And Milei is very definitely South American.
Yes.
Right? And so he is exactly what I would expect to come out of Argentina. And so I'm going to totally embrace it, accept it as it is. I'm not in any way judgmental about these things, especially when he says things like, there's no room for gradualism. There's no room for lukewarmness or half measures. There's no way back. It's like, okay, come on, let's go wild. Let's go nuts. You're in charge now. Go for it. And so basically he's just going to just abolish the state broadcaster in Argentina. We consider public TV has become a propaganda mechanism. I do not adhere to those practices of having a propaganda ministry. Public TV is to be privatized. It's like, yes, privatize it all.
I do feel that meme of, I see what you've done for other people, Lord Jesus, and I want it for me too. With this policy,
I've got a load of caveats. I just wish you'd do it over here.
Yeah.
He's going to dismantle the central bank and, of course, replace the peso with US dollar.
Oh, dear.
Slash social subsidies and halve the number of government ministries. And, he really did begin on day one as well. That would work. That's not working for some reason, John.
There we go.
Ministry of Women, Gender and Equality, Afuero.
I suppose that's probably the easiest one to close very quickly, because what does this do?
God only knows.
Okay, so
implement communism.
Yeah, in your coverage of this with Josh on day one, you were saying there are certain departments which could exist for good purposes. The problem is they're perverted by ideologues. If you did have a women and men's minister in a competent country that recognized sex-specific differences and controlled things like the international surrogacy trade, I'd be like, great, okay, that's fine. That wasn't that. But the fact that it says gender inequality in there as well means it's always going to be ideologically bankrupt. So just get rid of it.
I can't think of a single country at the moment that would do anything good with any sort of department like this.
No, this is obviously a communist tool used to try and continually, gradually implement communism in a country. Afuero. So good start. And again, like this, we're recording this a month in advance. He may have dismantled a bunch of other stuff by the time you watch this.
We can only hope.
God willing, says the atheist. But he will have done. Another good news is Geert Wilders, who very recently, in fact yesterday, so again a month ago for you, no idea what's going to happen. Don't know if any of the other parties will enter into coalition. But what I love, at least about the far right, is the hair.
Did Trump's Madame Tussauds waxwork come to life?
Maybe, but have you not noticed that everyone on the far right has just got great hair?
Thank you.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So just saying, like, if there's one thing, at least we've got style, you know? I mean...
Yeah, we've got style.
Yeah, we do. We do, actually. On Christmas, you wear Christmas
style.
Jumpers. Yeah, on Christmas, you wear Christmas jumpers. It's appropriate. Although, as a distributist pointed out on Twitter the other day, and this was retweeted by Michele, what's the guy from...
Michele?
Yeah.
Wait, distributed
by him.
Because he tweeted, I love Bukele, but he's dressed like Mark Zuckerberg. Where are the capes? Where
South American dictators need to dress like it.
He retweeted that.
I mean,
it's like, okay.
Pinochet did have much better style than Bukele, so he's got to start raising his standards.
Say what you will about Gaddafi, but at least he went out in style.
Yeah, I mean, at least he was interesting to look at, you know?
What happened to Gaddafi, by the way? Because I didn't realise.
What happened to Gaddafi?
Right, he was stabbed in the bum.
No, I know that. It's that I saw, like, when Mary Harrington did her thread of twink death for dictators. And
editor, flash this up.
Right. I saw for the first time ever
Gaddafi's twink death.
It was abysmal. It was terrible.
Listen,
he was a Chad when he was younger. I don't know what happened to melt his face like that.
I have no idea, but the very concept of twink death strikes me as being an insanely feminine thing.
Yeah, but it's coming from
true,
the women that are observing it. And I was
Exactly,
really
there we go.
disturbed because I have a quite striking resemblance for a young version of the Romanian dictator, so I don't know what's in my future.
Ceausescu?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Wait, I'm going to have to...
Young him does look a little bit like me if I ever shave, so I'm slightly worried.
That is really funny. Anyway, as you can see, the PVV on 35 seats projected from the exit polls, but the other parties BTFO'd. And this, of course, is in the light of the Hamas attack on Israel. Suddenly everyone's like, wait a minute, are these guys actually barbarians? And Geert Wilders like, I've been doing this for 20 years. I want to ban the Quran in the Netherlands. I mean, if you're not familiar. Like,
I haven't followed his rise to power.
Okay, well, he's been a very contentious figure in Dutch politics because he's been saying things that are true, but not very kindly put often. And he's always had a hard core of support. And now he's got a much broader core of support because it seems that the Islamic radicals insist on proving him right, basically. And so anyway, whether he gets enough people in other parties in the government who will prepare to enter into a coalition with him, I don't know, because of course the Netherlands having proportional representation have this massive plurality of parties, so no one ever gets a majority. And so basically he needs to find someone who will agree to a government with him. I don't know whether that's going to happen. That's doubtless going to have been resolved by the time you guys watch this, so post in the comments and let me know, although I'm sure I'll be aware at the time. Anyway, so I thought I'd go on to some other good things that were good news and not just politics. They are. Oh yeah, by the way, this is the map of who got the most votes in every district. The light blue is Geert Wilders.
Quite popular then.
Good in there.
Also, like the flash this up on screen. This is young Ceausescu. What happened to that man?
Again,
he does look quite a lot like you.
I know he does.
Listen, you're saying it as if it's a bad thing, right? All I'm seeing there is a beardless boy who's got no experience and no credibility.
That's why
when you've got a big fat dictator wearing.
Yeah, but you can maintain good looks.
I know, and I have
into older age.
But it's okay for the guy to get ugly if he's a massive dictator. I mean, like Gaddafi wearing basically. He looked like a sofa.
His face melted.
he looked like Tim Curry in that video game.
Yeah, right. And so that's fine.
It looks like Gaddafi held a magnifying glass to his face, reflecting the sun.
Yeah, it does,
melted him.
Yeah, and that's okay. Honestly,
poor man.
And that's not poor. He's in charge of an entire country.
That's not the worst thing that happened to Gaddafi.
I know. Well, yeah, I know that's not the worst.
Gaddafi, not quite the twink he used to be. I think that's low on his list of priorities. Just saying.
I did like that Harrington put Stalin as 10 out of 10. He got better with age. He was like a fine wine.
Oh, yeah. No, that's totally not true. Like, there are going to be loads of young women who are like, wait.
Yeah, but there's one photo of young Stalin where he looks decent, and then the rest of them, he doesn't.
Oh, really? I've only seen that one.
He looks like a well put together, kindly grandfather as he got older. And that's I will
that's
admit,
a very charitable way.
Declaration. He wasn't.
He wasn't, but
one of history's greatest mass murderers, actually.
He did project that image quite well, though, didn't he?
I'm not saying that if you didn't know who Stalin was, you saw a picture of him, you'd be like, oh, he's getting his grandkids some sweets or something, Sure.
Taken straight from the mouths of the kulaks.
Yeah, exactly.
I like her opinion on Mao was just consistently mid.
Yeah, true.
Anyway.
Sorry.
So, good news.
Speaking of consistently mid.
Yeah, good news. Marvel is dying, basically, which is great. And I say that as a Marvel, just cinematic universe hater. I mean, I'm not even irrational about it. I've got a long list of genuine grievances.
They've had some good fun.
Yeah, about a decade ago.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was good this year because it was totally apolitical and entertaining. It genuinely was. You'd probably enjoy it.
I can still go back to that very first Iron Man film
that's the only
and
one
have
I
a
like.
good time.
Yeah, that's the only one I like. Because that was before it became a treadmill of just printing film.
Also, in my estimation, Jeff Bridges being in a film always knocks it up a notch.
Sure. But anyway, so they're losing money, basically.
They're They had a 75% second week box office drop off for as far as I can remember.
75%.
Yeah.
And the first weekend wasn't that great.
First weekend was abysmal.
It was their worst.
I think their budget for this was like 500 million when you take into account marketing.
Yep.
What were you thinking?
Yep. And so it lost 60 million, something like that. The other ones have been losing like 20 million, I think. It's like, great. I love to see the downward spiral of the girl boss, to be honest.
Do you know that the director said she was inspired by The Last of Us Part 2? Womp womp.
Well, I'm just looking here to see.
Get what you deserve.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
We do have more projects between now and when this will go out. I think the main
let's
one
hope
being
they're absolute duds.
What If Season 2?
That's
Are we all
director-
excited?
That's director streaming. So
That's direct to streaming.
never even heard of
They'll never release the figures for it.
I've never.
It's
it's like an
They'll
alternate
never
history
release
animated
for it.
series of like if each movie ended differently. So they made Black Panther Star-Lord for some reason.
What if Captain America was a whammon?
Yeah.
What if we turned off the TV? But anyway, lowest ever opening for
Exciting
Marvels.
timeline.
As you said, 75% drop off. Absolutely tanking.
DC's facing the same thing. Do you know Aquaman 2 has been written to be about climate change?
I started seeing trailers for that pop up here and there, and I was sat next to my missus, and the trailer pops up, and she immediately grimaced. She went, "Oh, what's that?"
Yeah.
I love it. Marvel is giving women the ick.
Oh, that one was DC, but both.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't make a distinction between them.
Cape is giving women the ick.
Yeah.
I wish that I actually cared about this stuff anymore.
Yeah, I don't at all, and I'm totally sick of seeing it, and so I'm glad to see it. I should have really had that at the end of the segment, but I didn't think about it, so never mind. We'll carry on. The left is getting totally purged. Actually, wrong article up here, John. I actually changed that, but this is a bit of an old one. But basically, there's a new one. How just the Democrats are just like, hang on a second, is the left the problem? It's like, yes, the left is the problem, and you need to purge them, right? Don't worry about getting the thing up because. Let's move straight on to Keir Starmer.
Wait, I don't necessarily, not to rain on everybody's parade, but I don't see the Democrats embracing a Starmer centrism as being a good thing.
Well, I mean,
that signals to me total uniparty dominance.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying it's necessarily good or bad. It is necessarily good when the left gets absolutely trashed and kicked out of politics. In my opinion, because I mean, at the end of the day, like, I don't mind if things don't collapse as long as they don't turn us into communists. Like, if that's a small ask,
I think they're inextricable at this point as well. With the nature of the United States,
I'm prepared to entertain that as well.
Given that it's a country continent deluding itself into thinking it's a country. If something does happen in a neighboring Democrat state, they can just flee over the border and bring their terrible policies there, as seen with the electoral map for Texas.
But. In Britain,
good news.
The good news in Britain is that the Labour Party, I mean, they are going to win, but they might not be radical.
They will be about 6 months after winning.
Well, we'll see. I don't know. I'm not optimistic. But
good news.
I'm not optimistic because I think we're in a downward spiral and there's no pulling out of it until we crash. However, on the plus side, at least the downward spiral won't be conducted by someone like Jeremy Corbyn, right?
Right.
So Keir Starmer at least wants to think of himself as a centrist moderate, and so he'll do stupid radical left-wing things, but in a way that is not quite as extreme as could otherwise be done. This is a positive. Right?
So it's more like a Farage plane crash rather than a Andes have to eat your friends to survive plane crash.
Exactly. We might actually be able to walk away from it, right? Let's look. I tried to find good news. This is the best I could do. It's not great. Okay.
Enjoy your Christmas copium, everyone.
Yeah, it is absolutely copium. Obviously, you've got loads of Corbynites who are just like, well, Starmer is purging the left. He's kicking us all out of the party. He's not doing any of the left-wing things we asked him to do. And it's like, okay, good. I mean, that's just minor positive. But I thought the most positive thing that I found, and we'll end on this, not that, is a smartphone ban. Well, the robot hand's a good thing. 3D printed robot hands. If you've lost your hand,
oh, nice.
Have a robot hand. That's cool. But I thought we'd end with Ireland's smartphone school ban is approved in the town where it all began. So in Greystones in County Wicklow, the parents just launched a kind of no smartphone code where the head teachers from the town's 8 primary schools wrote to parents asking them to sign up to the ban, and all the parents basically agreed.
Primary school.
Yeah, I know.
Primary
Look,
schools.
you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, but the fact that they're in primary school.
I know, but the fact that
Parents.
I know, but at least the parents are like, yeah, actually, no, these are a bad thing. Because just so I can say, one of the major arguments for kids having smartphones is that all the kids have smartphones, right? And so, like, oh, he can't be left out. He won't be able to contact his friends. Blah blah blah. That's one of the arguments they make that everyone makes to make sure that kids have smartphones. It's like, okay, well, how about we just ban the smartphones for kids, and then that's the argument taken off the table. And that's what this town in Ireland has done, and it seems to have worked. Actually, it seems to have done a really good job. Ministers in the Irish cabinet have approved new guidelines on banning smartphones in school, which have been brought forward by Education Minister Norma Foley, and the proposals would help parents just collectively implement these bans. And one of the parents whose daughters go to Greystones, called Christina Capatina.
Very Irish name.
Yeah, I know, right? But okay, whatever. Don't. She says this: it's completely solved the problem. Really, has it? Just banning the kids from having access to the drugs has completely solved the drug problem.
Wait, what if we, as adults, have authority over children?
Yeah,
is that the conversation actually
they do, and they've been like, yeah, we can actually do that, can't we? Yes, we can. Oh, that's solved the problem. Brilliant. So we have a really nice little model here. The code was voluntary, but all the parents just basically chose to take part, apart from a couple, but then they became like the weird outsiders who, no, my kids are definitely having access to that heroin. Thank you very much. So, okay, weird hill to die on.
If it was voluntary, you just shouldn't have bought it for them in the first place.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, it's not the way that people think. They think social pressure is because the kids are like, all my friends have them, and so they have to do it. You find yourself pressured into it.
Well, remember, Connor, you got to know that you've got cancer before you can begin to treat it.
Yeah. And so apparently school principals all over the world are getting in touch with the school with messages of support, an indication of how universal parents' fears over childhood smartphone use are. Yes, so we can just ban them.
There is going to be a push for that in this country. It's already
good, and we should do it. Literally, no one under 16 should have a smartphone, in my opinion. Can't smoke, you can't have a smartphone, although that'll Rishi Sunak will increase that by age, so I'll be the last person in the country with a smartphone, just so I'll be the oldest. But anyway...
I'm gonna make that statement broader. No one should have a smartphone.
I don't know. It is a useful tool.
Yeah, but it is heroin. It's technological heroin, as you suggested.
I'm not saying
that's not just for the kids. That's for us as well.
Okay, don't make me. Oh God. Yeah. Okay, fine. But it's a really useful tool, and I can work on the go.
By work, he means use Twitter again.
That is my work.
Yeah.
That's like, I get millions of views. We're promoting the furthest right propaganda we can to the biggest audience that we can. And it's like, look, that's great work. I think I'm doing good work. Anyway, so that's just some good news that I think happened this year. There wasn't that much of it, but it was some good stuff.
If you appreciated that episode from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com and check out the merch store. And you can check out things such as the Dirty Dirty Smear Merchant shirt, which has been brought back for a limited time. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Twitter at lotuseaters_com on Twitter. Thank you and goodbye.